We are officially 1 week away from Eagles training camp, and today, one new Eagles offensive weapon ready to embrace the challenge and prove the critics wrong. Also, Jalen Hurts' top 100 NFL ranking revealed. What does this say about what the players think about him? Also, Eagles fans are buzzing because apparently Nick Sirianni has dabbled into AI in order to motivate the team, but is it everything that we think it is? We'll break all that and more down here on A to Z Philly, but welcome into the show. I am RB, and I cover the Eagles every single day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but we must start it off with our boy Dontayvion Wicks. And I love having guys on the roster that say the right things. You know, there's guys that get signed, that go out there, they put on the pads, and they go to work. You know, they go to the office, but having the right character with your players, I feel, is very important, and Eagles fans know that well. It's been a spicy offseason, a lot of prolonged A.J. Brown drama. We don't want to deal with that. We don't want that anymore. We want guys that are bought into the team, the mindset, the system, whatever, who are going to go out there and put it all on the line for this team. And I feel like Dontayvion Wicks, every time I hear him talk, is saying something along those lines. So he sat down on an exclusive interview with, I believe, Eagles.com, and he said this past weekend he wants to, quote, show what he's worth after getting traded and the extension. So I'm looking forward to Dontayvion Wicks, and he said a little bit more here in this interview, quote, me and Sean, talking about Sean Mannion, built a relationship just like Coach Ryan Mahaffey. Relationships play a big part in things, so I felt like that was a big part of the reason why, you know, the trust for me to be here and for them to bank on me. And he's not lying, you know, networking, relationships is a lot of what we do every day in our lives. You could be the best ever at something, but if you don't have the social skills, the relationships, and the trust really of those above you, then you're not going to get anywhere. So I do believe that Sean Mannion and Ryan Mahaffey and some of these others that came over definitely have an imprint on moves like Dontayvion Wicks. And I think they see the upside, they buy into that potential, and it gives him a perfect opportunity to put that on display. The Eagles banked on Wicks to the tune of a 1-year, $12.5 million extension that has tied him to the club through 2027. And Wicks says, quote, I just want to say I'm blessed to be able to be in this position. It showed me the value and the love that Philly has for me, and I want to come out and show what I'm worth. And not saying that that's a subtle shot at Green Bay, but what did they have? Like 5 receivers that were capable of playing last year on their roster, and Jordan Love was very up and down. There just wasn't any consistent opportunity for Wicks to show what he was worth. You know, there were times where he would get a couple deep passes and you'd say, oh my gosh, look at Dontayvion Wicks. Look at that breakaway speed. But then you wouldn't hear about him for a couple games. So I think now with AJ being gone, DeVonta being the pure leader of the group, bringing in a rookie like Mekhi Lemon, this is literally the perfect opportunity, especially having that connection with Sean Mannion, to come out here and have a career season. So I'm looking forward to what Dontayvion Wicks can do, but I love his mindset and his approach. Now, speaking of approach, we have to talk about the approach to these top rankings lists, because we just got done going through an entire ESPN rankings by position. You know, we've been breaking each one down. And in most of those lists, the players are getting disrespected. Let's be honest. You know, I don't want to just sound like a homer and I'm biased, but some of those rankings were horrible. But here's what you need to know, right? Jalen Hurts comes in at number 56 on the NFL top 100 players list. Now, we just said that the ESPN rankings have been brutal, right? A lot of those positional group rankings have been terrible. Here's the difference. Who makes the NFL top 100 list? Well, look at that. It is voted on exclusively by current NFL players, aka his teammates, the guys around the league that are actually suiting up, that are actually playing with and against Jalen Hurts, have him ranked at number 56. Whereas the ESPN rankings, who are voted on exclusively by network analysts, reporters, scouts, and editors, had him ranked outside of the top 10 quarterbacks, had him at number 17. So the list that is voted on by the players has Jalen Hurts above guys like Lamar Jackson, and the list that's voted on by analysts and network groups and analytics have Jalen Hurts so far down the list. You see the difference there? Jalen Hurts comes in at number 56 on the top 100 players. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that this list is by far the holy grail and everything that we should follow, because I do think it's skewed as well. For example, Jalen Hurts debuted in 2023 on this list as number 3. Then in 2024, before that season, he was 15th. Then, after winning the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP and ending a potential Chiefs dynasty, he dropped 4 spots down to number 19. This season, he drops 37 spots. So, you tell me what you think about that. Should he have dropped that much? I mean, I don't really care. That's where I'm at, you know? Jalen Hurts, as I've said all offseason, is going to prove the haters wrong. He's going to come out on a mission. Hopefully, he will finally have some stability and consistency at the coordinator position, and he will be able to do exactly what he has shown he can do in many different circumstances before. He's not a perfect player, but he does win. So for him to drop 4 spots after winning the Super Bowl MVP, as ridiculous as it is, and after a season like Thomas Peterson says here, where he had a decimated O-line, an incompetent coordinator, and a wide receiver who quit, he drops 37 spots. Is that fair? You let me know what you think. But the players that are on the field with him ranked him ahead of Lamar, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, whereas the analysts ranked him way below those guys. You give me your thoughts down in the comments. Now, a lot of people are also buzzing about Nick Sirianni. We haven't heard a lot about him lately because all the focus has been on the new offensive system and Sean Mannion and the new coordinators and assistant coaches. But apparently, according to Zach Berman, Nick Sirianni used ChatGPT this offseason to keep his message fresh to Eagles players. That included sharing sports stories with great relentless effort. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire article, but I do want to highlight here that Zach Berman did follow up on his initial tweet that got a lot of interaction. And he says the ChatGPT example was just an anecdote to humanize Sirianni in keeping fresh for year 6. Listen, man, we know what was going on here. And it's a middle of the summer story when there's not a lot to talk about. And the headline was good. It grabbed a lot of people in. Overall, Sirianni, according to what was written later in this article, is kind of saying what keeps it more fresh than what we've actually done in person. So although he used ChatGPT, it's not like he's advocating for it. Like, oh, we have to use AI. We have to break things down this way. We have to use it for messaging. He did use it, but he also said the purest thing is me talking to the team, you know, using my own voice and talking about what we've done and reflecting and all the things we've experienced. So it was a little skewed in the messaging, but that did not stop the memes. I was crying reading some of these on Twitter. Here's one of the best I saw. They said, Nick Sirianni's first search on ChatGPT, what is the most hitch routes that should be called during an NFL game? And it said, what's the most hitch routes that should be called? There isn't a fixed number. NFL teams don't script a certain number of hitch routes. A team may call 5 to 15 hitch routes over the course of a game. So obviously a callback to how much the Eagles ran hitch routes at a historical rate and how incompetent Kevin Patullo was. There was another one where somebody drew up like a picture of him with a board of like, what play should I call next? There were just so many and they were comical. I'm not going to lie. But yes, I think it's okay to use ChatGPT to assist in certain information and certain ideas. Should it be the end all be all? Absolutely not. We've seen that with other coaches and executives in this city. It has not worked. You have to actually go out and watch the game and play the game and experience the game. It's the whole analytics debate all over again, just in a different realm kind of. Because again, you know, numbers don't always tell the full story. You could go out and you could have a 95% chance to convert this play. But what if a guy breaks his leg on the play? Well, you're not going to convert the play. Why? Well, analytics didn't factor that into the equation. That's just one kind of overarching example. But look, if he wants to use ChatGPT to keep things fresh and to create certain messaging and ideas, you know, and save himself some time, I'm not too mad at that. But you just can't be over-reliant on it. You have to use it to help be more efficient instead of completely taking over a certain task or duty or whatever it may be. So I think it was completely overblown here, especially with the headline. But that's just kind of the day and age that we are in. Sirianni logged into the artificial intelligence chatbot on a Monday in June, a program he knew so little about he couldn't even get the name right. He began his research with a prompt, "Give me a relentless effort, true sports story." So that's just a little bit into what, they talked about and what apparently Sirianni admitted about with ChatGPT. Couldn't even get the name right. So like I said, he mentioned what keeps it more fresh than what we've actually done. So I do agree with him there. Last but not least, we have Nick Sirianni talking about the wide receivers. I believe this was a little bit old. I think this was a month or two ago. But one quote he has here very much piqued my interest. He says, "I'm excited for the extra opportunities DeVonta is going to get his way. I know every time we've given him extra opportunities, he's always taking advantage of those. Now he's going to get more of those." So at the end of the day, he talks about the team mentality, right? He had that press conference and kept mentioning team, emphasizing we got to have guys that want to play together. Not really a slight at AJ. He has a lot of love for him, but he knows what it's going to take to get this team back on track. This is very familiar territory. It feels just like the offseason before 2024. The pressure's on. You got to get the band back together. You can't have another collapse. So hopefully we have the same result here in 2026. Hopefully they go back and win it all. We can forget about this offseason and how annoying it's been with the drama. And it seems like Nick Sirianni, who is very familiar with the wide receiver position, is banking on some huge jumps there, whether it's Dontayvion Wicks, whether it's rookie Mekhi Lemon, to help complement DeVonta Smith. So we'll see if that happens. I think the wide receiver position is a big one to watch going into training camp. We'll talk about all those battles later this week. Where would you rank Jalen Hurts on the top 100 players list? Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.